Here in Florida, I mean, DUIs abound, let's face it. Probably everywhere else too. We're not alone here. But they are usually misdemeanors, folks. And in my 31 years of defending these cases, we can use experts on DUI cases just like we do on some punishable by life and racketeering and drug trafficking charges, all that. We have expert witnesses in our corner. We can have expert witnesses in DUI cases, but I am telling you, this is how our system goes. You have the prosecution with all the power, hundreds of lawyers, hundreds of law enforcement officers, half the time the judge is on their side too, and they get to prance out their breath tech operators and their DRE cops that know everything about alcohol. And yet when we want to prance out our own expert, God forbid, oh my gosh, the defense can't have somebody to counteract all our people, can they? This happens. Like, it's such a resistance when we want to just put up a little expert testimony. And that's what happened in Panero v. State. It's a recent case. And Panero was convicted of driving under the influence. Now, it's interesting because when Panero was arrested and they asked him to do field sobrieties, he's like, I'm not doing it without my lawyer here. Now, first of all, folks, you're not entitled to a lawyer during field sobriety exercises, but you're also not required to do these things. They're completely voluntary. Like if the cop just said, I want you to rub your hair and rub your belly at the same time, that's just completely voluntary. I'd have no idea why they want you to do that, but you could say no and there'd be no ramification. Panero said, no, I'm not gonna do the field sobriety exercises. Well, the cop was like, oh, I see you have all the checkmark things that they always say, and I'm gonna arrest you anyway. Panero refuses to blow into the machine. Now, come trial day, Panero goes to trial on this. He has an expert witness cases out of Pinellas County. So I'm not familiar with this expert, but I looked him up and I hear he's pretty good. And actually, when the state heard this guy's name, they didn't even challenge him from like a Dalbert scientific standpoint. The guy's a doctor of pharmacology and physiology and a professor at USF. And it's like, oh, well, he's an expert. Okay. Dr. Daniel Buffington. Okay. So Dr. Daniel Buffington is going to testify on behalf of Panero at trial, but the state just goes ballistic and the judge buys into what the state is saying, because what the doctor is going to say is he is going to use the Widmark formula. I won't bore you with that. That's a whole nother video we could do. But this formula, you plug things into this formula, right? And it will tell you from a scientific standpoint, this is Panero's blood alcohol level at the time he was arrested, okay? That's what it's gonna say, and the state doesn't want the jury to hear that. Now, their argument is, it's flimsy, because remember in Florida, you can have 3 different DUIs, right? It's up to the state to charge you with whatever DUI they want to, but you basically got 3 variations. Number 1, the common one, especially if you refuse. You were driving while your normal faculties were impaired, right? You refused to blow in the machine. We don't have blood or alcohol evidence, breath evidence, but your normal faculties were impaired. Convict them of DUI. That's one DUI. The second DUI is they took blood and your blood alcohol level is above 0.08. That's the second way to convict. The third way to convict or charge is your breath. Your breath alcohol level was above a 0.08. It's the state's decision what to charge you with, but the state was saying, Your Honor, they have an expert. This doctor is going to come in and use a formula and say physiologically this guy had a 0.02, which is way below the legal limit. We all can drive with a 0.02, okay? Most of us. And it's not going to impair us in any way. That's what he's going to tell the jury. We haven't charged this guy with that. We've charged him with just the blanket generic normal faculties impaired. So they have no business getting an expert to start running numbers when we're not charging him with having above a 0.08. Judge buys it and excludes this expert. And now it goes up on appeal. Now up on appeal, the court had to sort of clarify a few things. Because, first of all, the appellate court did not buy the state's objection. And I know this sounds like a little bit of insider baseball. I'm sorry. But here's the thing. This doctor, this physiologist and pharmacologist, was also going to say that Panero had told the officer that he has liver disease and told the officer that he has tremors. Now, when you have tremors and you have liver disease and you watch the body cam video of Panero, everything that this cop thought and the smell of the breath, everything that this cop thought was shady and DUI-ish, this doctor is like, no, it's not. This is liver disease all the way. Even affects the odor of your breath. This is tremors all the way. This is not intoxication. And therefore, the appellate court said, we're throwing out this DUI conviction. You guys got to go back to court, try this again with an expert witness, because absolutely positively, this doctor had some very important things to say, and he shouldn't have been excluded. Just because the state chose to charge this in the way they didn't mean that this doctor couldn't come in and say a bunch of things medical. The two things he was going to say, by the way, was that based on what Panero had to drink, he had a 0.0115 blood alcohol level, okay? Or a 0.013 or something. I mean, this is so far below a 0.08 that anybody could practically drive on this, I assume, I don't know. And that's what they wanted the jury to hear, was this guy wasn't even close to a 0.08. He wasn't half of a 0.08. He wasn't a fourth of a 0.08. Let him drive. He should have had no problem driving. What you thought was alcohol was liver disease. It was tremors. It was everything else. They excluded that expert testimony. The appellate court gave the smackdown and said, you can't exclude this. Go back to trial. Let this expert come in. There's our little DUI insider baseball moment. You can have experts in DUIs. They are important. I recommend you do it if you need it. If you need DUI help here in Central Florida, that's what I've been doing for over 30 years, helping people out with those. Give our office a call. We'd love to help you. We also thank you for watching, and we appreciate any help you can give us by just liking it, thumb up in it, subscribing, all those things. Thank you, and have a great day.